Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Carl.
Yes.
How are you?
Not too bad.
How's your tummy doing now?
Still a bit sore.
If
Okay.
so, as you all know, this is a debriefing meeting. I have booked the room as soon as possible because in the policy it says that we have to do the debriefing as soon as possible, from 48 hours to 72 hours from the incident. So I have done it as soon as I could. The purpose of this debriefing is that you have the place to share your what happened in the incident, and so that the organization can avoid what we should avoid in the future, and learn something out of it and change things how we implement. Right? I'll be using parent share method and metaphor method throughout the meeting. When we discuss the questions, I would like to find out about the incident, and your reflection will be done throughout the meeting, like through the questions, and then what are the influencing factors, and we'll do evaluation on what's good, what's bad, what evaluation about the incident, and then we will do what we learned from the incident. We will find out what we can learn from the incident, something like that, and then what strategy would work for each and every one of you at the end of the meeting. Okay, and special assistant will be given to you. So I would like to tell you about the ground rule for this meeting. The ground rule is that whatever discussed in this meeting is confidential, so no one is allowed to talk about what we discuss here. Everything said here stays here, does not go out of this meeting. And the second is this is a safe place, so you are safe in this area, and if you have any emergency, you can go out from the entrance, exit, and if you have any case, like if I punch you, you can call the police immediately, right? So nothing to harm you in here, no knife, no bullet or anything, so you feel safe. Okay, feel safe, be safe. Now, and the third thing is that you have to be honest in what you say, and you have to completely open up your mind and open up your heart. Tell us about what happened, what you think, what you hear, what you see. All right? Yeah. So let's start with the incident, what happened and why it happened. I would like to ask both of you to discuss those two questions. First, parent share, and share each other, and then you can present it to me afterward. Okay, what happened and why it happened?
What happened?
Well, we know the first time I got yelled at and he was physical, brought you for the second time to help calm things down, but he was still very verbally abusive to us. Third time when we went there, we knew that there was a real problem there, so we tried to be cautious, but he still then jacked up and he punched. I thought he was going to hit you or something, and I stepped in between, and then that's when he punched me.
Okay.
I know you were upset about it all too, so and it was very upsetting for you, so I know that too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You can present one by one.
Oh,
What happened
do you want to start, or do I want to start, ladies before gentlemen?
and why?
Do I do it? Okay. There's three incidents for me. first time I went to see Wayne, we were trying to just get information that was needed for his continued rehabilitation at home, to continue his rehabilitation out of the centre and into the home. When we first started talking about home, he got very angry, even grabbed me by the collar. I thought he was only anxious at first. I thought he was just, he wasn't sure about what the whole thing was, and that he wasn't sure what was going to happen at home. Maybe that he wouldn't get the support he needed at home for his rehab, etc. But he just got further angry. So that's when I left. On the second incident, we went back to talk to him about his rehabilitation at home again, but this time to help soothe the waters, as they say, I brought Eve along because I thought that she would be less threatening, and that she could just discuss it with him quietly, and that we could, because it was my case to start with, I had to be there so that we could break through this barrier of him being angry. But instead, he as soon as we started talking to him, he started getting aggro about it. He just got really. He got so angry that he got red in the face. He was yelling at us and screaming profanities at us, swearing the head off. Eve wasn't happy. I thought she was a bit scared from that. So we got out of there as quickly as we could, and we made an incident report on that about it. But we thought, we wanted to know more about it. On the first time, after I'd talked to him the first time, found out he was known to have anger issues. So that's why I brought Eve the second time. Third time we had these questions that we have to ask him, because he is going to go home, right? And the only thing stopping him from going home is that he hasn't been able to. We haven't been able to present a plan for his return to the house, to his house. So I took Eve again for the third time. It was her second time, my third time. We went in there. We knew that he'd had problems with his wife. So we tried to avoid even talking about his wife, but we did ask questions about home. We also found out he'd been on drugs and alcohol, which was not good, so we're rehabilitating him. That's half the reason why he had to have some rehabilitation, is because of the drugs, etc. And so we're trying to sort that out, and he got angry straight away. Before we even really got into anything, he just saw us and got angry. I thought he was going to hurt Eve because of the way he was acting. So I stepped between them, and that's when he punched me in the stomach. The rest of the staff heard the commotion that was going on, and they entered in and they helped subdue him and let Eve back out. She was very visibly upset by the whole thing. We do have a job to do. We do have questions that needed to be answered, but we didn't expect that just asking questions about home rehabilitation would incite such an incident.
That's a very bad situation that you have to face. I'm sorry about it. Sorry to hear about it. I would like to just repeat what you said and confirm whether it's correct. What happened? The first time what happened was you were pulled from the collar. The second time he chased you out. Say he was yelling yelling at you.
Yelling profanities, swearing.
And telling you to
Not
go
come.
away.
To go away.
And
Well, he basically told us not to ever come back, but
Yeah.
we have to come back because we have to ask him the questions, and it's my case, and I can't just pass it on to somebody else just because he yelled at me. I mean, they're going to face the same situation. That's why we got Eve involved, and we didn't want to bring on really any more people into the situation, and we were hoping that knowing what was happening at home, maybe we could avoid some of those issues and talk to him about the rehab in such a way that he wouldn't get angry, but as soon as we mentioned home, that was it. He was off and running and in anger. So even though we avoided things about talking about his wife, etc., we were just trying to talk to him about his home. It still didn't matter. He still was angry.
Yeah. So the third time, you got punched in your belly.
Correct.
And nothing happened to Eve, right?
Not physically.
Not physically. All right. And why did it happen? Is the first time you were talking about his family, he got upset, and the second time also, he got upset.
He just got upset as soon as we started talking about home.
Okay.
He didn't just. We weren't discussing his wife or anything, but he just got upset about the whole thing, like straight away. Anything that had to do with home was immediately. Like as soon as you talk, I don't think he even wants to go home. I think that's part of it too, is why he's angry.
Okay. And then the other thing is he got problem with his wife, and his mood was off in the morning the last time we went, and the last incident, right? So these are the reason why. So do you have any different thing from Eve? From your point of view, what happened and why it happened? Do you have any different idea?
Not really.
No, the same, right? Okay, then I confirmed. And now let's do reflection on what had happened. Reflection plus evaluation, and find out what are the influence factors. Okay, so I will use metaphor method for that. I have put some pictures over here, and if you can pick up one at a time, and take your turn, and then these all pictures have meanings and questions about it, so you can answer the questions. So what is that?
What was good about the experience?
Yeah, what was good about the experience? What good thing can you see in that incident?
Well, it doesn't really have a lot of good things, but I think it's a good experience for me.
What?
So that
How is it good?
Well, if we met this kind of situation next time, we could prepare prepare to call the security and stuff.
You prepare yourself more mentally.
Yeah. Your turn.
My turn. Consequences of your action to the people involved.
Yeah, what are your consequences? What are the consequences of your action to the people involved? Means can be the client, it can be the person you work with.
Oh, mine.
Yeah.
What I called in Eve, hoping that she could see the situation, but really it didn't matter whether Eve was there or not. Maybe that was not the best thing to do, because then it ended up being both of us involved in it. Consequences of my actions were I needed to ask these questions. I tried to ask them in a proper way, but he was still very upset. So really the whole consequences of my actions were that we went 3 times, we tried 3 times to do the same thing, and with each time it just escalated. So knowing that it was escalating, maybe we should have had security there, being prepared for it to escalate.
Consequences.
So the consequences were that I got hurt and Eve got very upset.
Mhm. You got physically hurt and your friend got mentally disturbed.
Yeah. She was upset.
And the client was upset.
The client was upset, but he was upset straight from the get-go. He was in a mood straight from the get-go.
Okay.
Probably the reason why I was in rehab.
What was your reaction?
Yeah.
My reaction was that I feel very anxious and I didn't know what to do, and I got really frightened by his actions. Yeah.
You couldn't do anything at that time?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I was too scared, I couldn't even do anything.
Yeah, that's why I just.
I heard you cried.
Well, I didn't. I tried not to cry in front of the clients and other workers.
She was very upset. She did very well, but it was very upsetting.
Next.
How did you respond?
So when the client got upset,
Well, the first time
how did you respond?
Well, the first time when he got upset, I backed out of there. And my response was to dissipate the situation by leaving. Second time, to help prevent the situation coming up again, I thought maybe a female person asking him the questions might help. But it turns out because it was his wife, maybe a female was not the best as well, and she got upset. Third time round, we responded by we went in prepared to ask him questions, knowing that that anything about his wife would upset him, but it didn't still matter. Even though we prepared ourselves, he was still more than what we expected. So in that case, I had to be protective of Eve. So the first and second time we responded by leaving.
Yeah, you protected Eve in the last event, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your turn.
Your turn.
What were you thinking when responding to what happened?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
What was I thinking? I was thinking, how do I get out of this place? And like, why did I even come to this place at first? Yeah.
Question.
What influenced you to respond the way you did? Well, the first time I was a little bit frightened, but because of the way he ramped up so quickly, so I responded by thinking that maybe gentler side of being asked the questions by a woman might be easier on him, not knowing that his wife was what was upsetting him. And then the third time we responded by going in with prepared to, try to work the questions in such that we didn't talk about his wife, but it still didn't matter. So that's what we tried to do. Anyway, to negate the situation, leave the first time, second time bring a woman to help be more gentle with him. Third time we went in, the two of us prepared with questions that would avoid talking about his wife. But
Next.
What else could you have done about what happened? What else could I have done? I could have called for help for the securities, and
Well, you probably could have got security before we went in.
yeah.
Might have been a better bet. I think that's a better way to do things. especially if we know that he's ramped up twice.
Yeah, maybe you are informed that he got bad mood, right?
Yeah.
At that time, maybe you should decide not to go on that day.
Yeah.
Maybe postpone the date or something like that. And that's just a suggestion. Alright, next.
What was bad about the experience? What was bad about the experience? I got hurt. Eve got upset. The client was upset.
And he has to face legal.
He has to face legal things now, and it's made his situation worse. Not only is his wife things that he's now facing problems with for physical violence.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the bad thing in this situation, is that it not only affected us badly, but in a way it's affected him badly too.
Yeah.
Because it can be very disruptive to his rehabilitation.
Yeah. And you won't be able to attend to your work anymore for a few weeks now.
Yeah, that's the injury. But I think with the bad thing also too is that Eve's going to be mentally scarred. I'd probably be a bit mentally scarred myself as well. But there's also the mental side of it that if we have a client who acts up again, we'll know how to deal with it, but we'll also react in a negative way because we've been through it. So we've got to have to watch how we react, that we don't overreact next time when somebody's just a little bit angry.
Good. Next.
What were you feeling when responding to what was happening? Again, I was feeling anxious and scared. Well, because of the way he acts, it's a bit difficult to deal with.
So what can be done to minimise the risk of the incident from happening again? Couple of things. As soon as an issue is, like if somebody has anger issues, and it's known, we should be told straight away. And
what did you feel and why? Yes, I feel petrified. Yeah, and it wasn't.
You were anxious going in the second time. Let's face it. Because after the first time when they were yelling and screaming at you, that shook you up enough as it was. That's why we went and discussed what questions how we should ask the questions. Remember? So you were pretty antsy. You didn't want to really. She didn't really want to come in the second time. So it really was hard on her the second time. It makes it hard to face. Like even I was worried about what we were going to face.
Did you expect this gonna happen? Have you ever faced any other incident like that?
No.
No, not with somebody that. No, I've faced angry clients before, but not one that ramps up into physical violence so quickly.
Not expected at all.
Well, yeah, you don't expect it. No. Well, he goes from cold to roaring fire hot. In like that, so, and then gets physical, so it's very hard to deal with.
Okay, very good. Now let's go back to pair and share. I have some questions that you can discuss in pair and then come back with the answers. This
B?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you feel about the incident now? Regretful.
Yeah, sort of.
What about you?
Relieved that it's done now.
Relieved that it's done?
Yeah. How have you made sense of this experience in light of the past experience and future practice? That's too long.
How have you made sense of the experience in light of the past experiences and future practices? Well, for me, the sense that comes out of this is that
We can
past experience that
prepare.
we need to be more prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for future,
in future practices, yeah.
we
As,
can make.
as I said, security.
Yeah.
We need security. This type of thing, we need security. And there's no point us going in and getting harmed. We need security there. What insights have you gained? I think looking for my insight would be that I look for the anger, see how quickly it's ramping up. So we look for signs of anxiousness and anger, knowing the difference between the two. We need to really know that. The other insight that I've gained is that not always bringing somebody of the opposite sex in isn't always helpful. Especially if we need to find out why the client is getting so angry so quickly. Just saying, oh, he's got anger issues, and then he gets angry. If we know that something's going on, like a bit like that his wife was having affairs, crap, and all this stuff, well then, by the third time we sort of knew that, but the insight would be, A, we tried to do what we did, but B, have that security there, have a security blanket. And going in numbers does help, but I think if you've got somebody who's, especially a male, who's very extremely angry, I think keeping a female out of it, bringing a female in is the wrong thing to do. Okay.
Can you break it to me now? Okay, ready? How do you feel about the incident now?
How do you feel? Regrettable.
Relieved.
You're relieved it's over.
Yeah.
Relief after we have discussion?
Mhm.
That's a good thing. That's why we are here. And how do you make sense of this experience in the light of past experience and future practices?
What I make sense of it is that, we make sense of it really is that just need to look for signs more often, and we need to know. We just need to know more. We need to be proactive. This was all done reactive, and we need to be proactive.
What insight have I gained?
Well, that's the insight I've gained is that I need to have more information before dealing with clients. Also, the insight I've also gained is that bringing a female into a situation where there's a violent male is a bad thing to do, not a good thing.
What changes can be implemented based from what had occurred?
For
Security.
security be on hand. Staff more brief.
More of us.
More briefing, yeah, and also matching staff to the client, as in if you got a female that's asking a male client questions and he gets angry, well then it doesn't matter that she's the lead on that. She needs to be withdrawn and a male be put on the lead, and that if it needs to be at least 2 males to be involved, male staff members. So we need to match male with male, female, especially if they're known to be violent. If they're known to be anger issues, doesn't mean if they're not violent, even if it's just anger, verbal anger, well then a female shouldn't be brought into it when it's a male that's like that, and if it's a female that's like that, well the male shouldn't be brought in because they'll feel threatened.
Okay. How will we know if the changes have been effective?
If there's further incidents reported, we'll know if there's no physical violence in any reports. I mean, you're going to have reports because it's going to be cases where we have angry clients, but the thing will just say that it was dealt with in a safe manner. That's how we'll know it's effective. This wasn't safe. What happened wasn't safe. So if further incidents are dealt with proactively, so we see that it's dealt with proactively, and we see that the staff remain safe and the client remains safe, well then we know that we're moved in the right direction.
So, Kara, did you already file the form
Yes.
for your
Injury.
injury?
Yes.
Did you get the support from the work cover?
Yeah, we've had support from work cover.
Yes, that's a good thing.
The only thing that hasn't, everything's been dealt with my physical injury. The only thing is mentally, I'm okay with it, but it was a bit. I think I'm dealing with it okay because I'm not back at work yet. I think if I go back to work, I have to see how I feel about that.
Look, at the moment, as you are injured, you can stay back at home and then heal yourself, cure yourself, and you can come back only when you are totally recovered. And then mentally, what kind of support would you like to have? We have some kind of strategies, like you will be removed, like when you come back, some people cannot face the same place, so if they cannot face the same place, we remove and place in a different area where they're more comfortable. So that's avoidance, you call avoidance strategy. Second thing is you have imaginary safe place in your mind. What kind of place do you think is safe? We don't want you to be safe, to be unsafe, so we want you to be safe. And the third thing is grounding strategy. That is like you do yoga or meditation, exercise, something like that. You do those kind of things. And the fourth is self-understanding, self-compassion. And then the final is developing secure relationship. Like if you have somebody at home to talk to, you talk to them. And otherwise, do you need a counselor?
No, I've talked to my wife about it. She understands what's going on.
So among this support, what kind of support would you like from us?
Well, I don't know about going to a different place. I don't know how I'm going to feel until I go back. Like if I go back and I can't deal with it, well, then we can further discuss what about maybe changing places. But I like this place where I work. Look, if I felt safe, I think, and we had the processes such that we knew that we were safe, I think I'd be all right to not have to be removed.
Okay. So for you, I will think about creating a safe place. Okay. And how about Eve? What kind of support would you need?
I think I'll be okay if I do some meditation and stuff, yoga, because it's more about mentally than physical.
Alright. So, do you do yourself or do you need support?
I can do myself.
That's very good. And thank you very much for your information today. It helps a lot. It helps the organization and other people who will be working in the future. And tell us if you need any support from us. Okay? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.